What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Herr Lounge podcast. So we're not going to go in. I know I usually have a positive quote, but I think we're going to have a lot of positive things out of this podcast. So I think y'all can get all the positivity from Jalissa today. So the last time Jalissa was on my podcast, she was red pilling y'all. And today she's going to red pill y'all another way.
Yeah,
so we're going to get the spiritual way. So thank you, Jalissa, for finally coming on.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. First of all, my biggest question is, what sparked this now?
This right here, all of this?
Yes,
okay,
all this energy.
Well, the last time I was talking to you, I was teaching in school and had to get out of there. And so, my students actually, the whole Gen Z generation is very into spirituality and crystals and tarot and all these kind of things. And so we just slowly started talking about it. And over time, I started to see truths behind astrology and the things that they were talking about. And they would do like cutesy stuff like, I'm a Gemini, I'm a this, that. And then slowly, the more I started studying it, I started using it in the classroom, like within myself, being like, okay, that's a Libra, that's a Gemini. Those are two air signs. I'm going to pair them together and see how they work. And so from there, it just kind of spiraled into what I'm doing.
So you
today.
always kind of like this. So it wasn't like just something that you like came across and like, I'm very interested in this.
Yeah.
And applied it to yourself. You had already been kind of in that whole realm of learning and using and kind of working with it.
Yeah, only for the past few months, though. I mean, when I grew up Catholic, so we were told don't look at any of this stuff. Yeah. And so, during like, going into the grocery store or something and seeing like a magazine that had horoscopes and stuff like that, and I'd be like scared to like look in the back and be like,
that's funny. Oh my God, I forgot about the horoscope magazines.
In the back of the so I would kind of like peek at it and then be like, I think everyone generally knows like what at least their sun sign is. So from there, kind of like left it alone, of course. And then it wasn't until really this year until I really started looking into it. The more that I found, I was like, what the heck is this? And why did they tell us to stay away from it? And I could be here for a lot of hours to explain. Right, because it's known to be like, I guess, devilish, I guess. Oh my gosh, or whatever. There's such a big misconception behind it. And I think I know why, they tell us to stay away, because there's so much power in learning yourself and learning like, okay, if you're born under this sign, you carry these characteristics, and let's say somebody doesn't like that about you, or if they brought that up before, like, I don't like when you talk about this or act like this, and then they make it seem like something's wrong with you, and so you start to adjust your behavior, adjust how you are, and then that's not naturally you. Sure. Yeah. Sure. So the more I learned myself, I was like, wait. Because I would have, especially with the politics, I'm an Aquarius. So Aquarius is politics. The more you study what Aquarius is and what it's all about, I was like getting. Is that April or March? February. February. Okay. Yeah. February and March. I'm sorry, January and February. And so people would tell me like, stop talking about politics. Why are you talking about politics so much? And I was like, maybe I should stop. Maybe I should. Maybe it's annoying. Maybe, so I start to like adjust myself and I'm like, wait, no, like, why am I doing this? And so the more you learn yourself, you're like, oh, this is who I am. Yeah, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And so be it. So let's start from the very beginning, because I was very curious when you were doing all this. I was like, okay, not so much the astrology part was I told like that it's devilish. It's the tarot card reading that I don't do that. Like that was, I was always told like, and I was raised Pentecostal. So, but that was never like an issue. It was always like, you don't go get your future told, but like astrology was never like a bad thing. Yeah. Or my mom never made it seem, my mom always thought it was silly, but she never like made it a big deal. Okay. I want to start with what exactly is a birth chart. And I don't even really know that you can, because I know there's a lot in the birth chart, but what in general is the birth chart? So like the teacher me will break this down. Okay, so everyone's born with your own birth chart, and there's a lot of websites where you can go and put your birth, time and day and all that, and where you were born in there, and it'll pull up a chart. And it essentially shows you like all of the energies that you're made up of. Now, what it is, where it came from, that's more of the spiritual aspect to me, but the 2023 version, go online and type it in, and it'll pull up not just your sun sign. You're not just a Libra. You're not just an Aquarius. You're made up of multiple energies. In different areas of life, you'll see it's broken up into what's called 12 houses, and each house represents a different area of life.
That's what I was going to ask you. I have 12 houses on the birth chart.
So each house represents a different area of life. So let's say you and I are both Libras, but, you know, people are like, well, I'm a Libra, she's a Libra, and we don't act the same, and so astrology's fake. Because there's more than 12 personalities in the world. Because your moon sign is your emotional sign. It's your mood, it's your mind, it's the connection to mother. So your moon sign could be an Aquarius, and mine's in Sagittarius. So I act like a Sagittarius in the mind, the way that I speak, what I feel. You know, yours is an Aquarius type of mindset. It's all like everyone's different. You know, those degrees of
that is that what the primal triad or whatever that's called? Is that part of that, where it's your moon, sun?
Yeah, your sun, moon, and rising. What you call your big three. Yeah.
Okay, and so those have nothing to do with your 12 houses. That's still something separate.
Your sun sign is somewhere in the chart. You know, so wherever the sun is in the chart, it's like it's your soul. Your sun is your soul, and wherever it's in the chart, that's like the theme of your life is kind of centered around those things. So like mine is in the house of family. So I'm very big on family. I'm like the black sheep of the family. Like I'm the sun. I'm the center of the family. Wherever I go, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, when I walk in the door, everyone's like, there she is. You know, so that's the feeling that I get whenever. So, you know, some people have the sun, let's say in the house of like travel and foreign culture. They're always on a plane somewhere. They're always going here, going there, doing this, that. And so you have to look at the chart in depth to see like, where does someone's energy go towards? You know, do they care more about these things? Do they, you know, where's their mind at? Where's their, you know, the rising sign, like you were saying earlier, your rising sign is your body personality, like how people look at you and see you before they get to know your feelings. So like for me, I'm a Scorpio rising. Scorpio is a water sign. It's like a darker type of energy. Like,
so in your three, real quick, just so I can get it. So you said you're a Aquarius by your horoscope sign, correct?
It's your sun sign.
Your sun sign. And then you're a Sagittarius in your mood, meaning that's how you feel, think, per se. And then you're a Scorpio in the what?
The rising sign.
What does that mean?
So it's your body personality, like how, like when I'm out and about at the grocery store, like people see me, like, am I going to go up to people and start chit-chatting? Am I more reserved to myself? Am I shy? Am I...
Okay, got it. Okay. And everybody's that, not just you. Everybody has three signs.
Multiple. You got a lot. You got like 12. You're more than just
So you're not just one zodiac sign. You're like several in one per se. Is that what the 12 houses means?
Yeah, so the 12 signs, there's 12 houses, but sometimes you will have empty houses and things like that. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it. So I can go in order if you'd like me to.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that.
So your sun sign is...
Because I had never heard of that until you started posting. I'd never in my life... Juan was like, you don't know about the birthing chart? I was like, Juan, why do you know about the birthing chart? That's what I want to know. Because I was like, so she's going to tell us about a birthing chart, what I had never heard of until you started talking about that. I just knew pretty much the basic, or you know how it's fun to take those tests. Who is your who are you compatible with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was always like, okay, damn, I don't date anybody that's compatible to my sign.
Yeah.
Shit, okay.
Yeah,
so it's...
I only knew about it because of people
that you
like,
date.
Dating. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like this.
They throw stuff at him like, well, it's because your chart. And so he was like, wait, no, we're not doing this chart situation.
Yeah, no. I know everyone's always like, it's not the biggest.
Is it hard though for you now because you've explored this and you've kind of like opened up that part of your brain to where it's like now when you talk to someone, you're like, holy shit, like this is because of this or this is because of that. Do you catch yourself doing that a lot?
It's really hard to.
Wow.
It's really hard to turn it off. I don't not turn it off. Like you're a Libra, right?
Yeah.
You talk. It's a communication sign. I'm an Aquarius. It's a communication sign. I was like, just all the time. Like, I like talking. So, I'll look at somebody like, cause I'm studying medical astrology and, I'm always into fitness and stuff like that. So now I'm taking that into account of like, okay, the old me, the early 20 somethings before I got into this, I'd be just like, why can't everybody just go to the gym? Yeah. Why can't everybody just go work out? now I'm learning why some people just can get up and go, and why some people dread it, and why some people can't, and why they gain more weight. Everything.
And that's all in your birth chart?
Every single thing.
What?
And so it frustrates me when people say, well, that ain't have nothing to do with astrology. I'm like, every single thing in your life, your being, and everything that happens to you in your life is because of astrology. Everything. Every life event, everything. I can look in the chart, and I only talk to strangers. So I'm like, did your mom do this? Like, were you brought up like this? And they're so, oh my gosh. Like,
okay, I'm going to let you go in order, but I do have a question because I'm wondering, is this a way to heal people with trauma?
Yeah.
With childhood trauma?
I've self-healed myself, being like, maybe I shouldn't have been mad at my mom. Oh, she used to be a teen before too. Oh, she has this. Oh. You start to like really understand people at their core, just like let people be now. You know, I tell you, like, you know, this is the behaviors you have. Don't like learn it to be like, well, it's because I'm Libra and that's why I act like this. Like, it's to learn it to find balance.
And to improve and, you know, avoid or I guess like any of that. Okay. I'm not going to ask no more side questions. I'm going to let you keep going so that I can.
I'm scatterbrained.
Yeah.
Okay. So your sun sign is your soul, personality, you know, who you are at the end of the day. Your moon sign is your mind. It's also connected to like the mother, nourishment as in food, but nourishment as in like were you nourished emotionally with your mother. Your Mercury sign is your communication sign, how you think, how you like receive information, deliver information. You know, like that's why some people can't take how I speak or talk, you know, or the things I like to talk about. You know, there could be like miscommunication when the signs don't really match. Your Mars sign is like your action sign.
Your what sign? I'm sorry?
Mars.
Mars sign. Okay.
It's like that, like I said, that, like tied with energy.
Got it.
Can you get up and go run 2 miles like 6 o'clock in the morning, or is it going to take you a while? You know, are you just kind of lazy, sit on the couch potato type of person? Let's see, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars. Your Venus sign. So your Venus sign is for a woman is how she loves in a relationship. For the man, it's what he looks for in a partner. So the energy of that sign. Usually the sign, you know, would be better, but it's just the energy of that sign. So the Mars sign for the man is how he loves in a relationship, and for the woman, it's how the energy that she wants in a man, what type of energy in the man she wants. And then you got your Saturn sign, which wherever Saturn is in the chart, it kind of delays or slows or gives obstacles in that part of your life. Everybody has a Saturn placement somewhere. Everybody has every one of these planets somewhere. So
because on your chart, it's a like a circle, right? And then the top part tells you one thing, and depending on where your houses are on the top part will depend on certain things, and the bottom part depends on another thing. So it's really hard to understand because trust me, I was like, she's going to be on, I'm going to need to understand at least a little bit of what she's talking about. So I like watched a few YouTube videos, but obviously one of the girls that I think I watch, she also does the tarot card reading though, but I think she was doing the chart reading for beginners, and she said like, she showed like a line, and then she showed like what the top part was going to mean or something. It just got too, I was like, okay, forward.
Yeah, I feel like I could explain it to beginners just because I'm like a teacher.
A teacher, yeah.
Okay, so if you look at a birth chart and you see somebody has a lot of planets and zodiac signs at the top half, then they're known to the public, like because of their public image is more visible. You have it more at the bottom, they're more of like an introvert, or not even so much introverted, but they're more like low key, or you might know them for, you know, always being in the house or working from home, or, you know, something like that. So it's either like fame, you know, public persona out there, or just out in the community, stuff like that, or they're just, you know, kind of low-key kind of energy. So if you look at somebody's chart, you see a lot of planets on the left side, which is like that they're very independent, like very solo, like they're going to be their whole life. Like they just do everything on their own. The right is a more codependent type of person. Now, it doesn't mean like, I mean, it could be needy, but it also could mean like they're more of like, let's say like a creative or something, and they just need the doer. Like, I'm the mind and you're the doer. So I got all the ideas. I can tell you, and then you're like, okay, let's go, and we'll get it done. So that's like a codependent. So I'd stress to somebody who had that chart, and they're like, I didn't want to believe you when you said that, but I just noticed like I really don't like doing the little tasks and the call this person, get this done. Like they're just more of the idea mind type of person. So it gets very complicated, but and just to finish off the last couple of ones. So your Jupiter sign, wherever Jupiter is in the chart, it's the planet of like good luck, good fortune, abundance, but it also expands. So wherever it is in the chart, it can expand that area of life, whether it's positive or negative. Like mine is not in a good sign, in a good area, but it also can expand like your stomach. It can expand wherever it is. Like that's why some people are bigger than other people. Let's see. Uranus is the Aquarius type of planet. So that unexpected, sudden events, sudden things happen, like wherever that's in the chart, or just like a different eccentric type of, like if you had it in the house of family, your family could have been like way different than everyone else in the neighborhood, what do they do for a living kind of thing, some weird stuff going on in that house, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a very complex system. And I just wish people would learn it, to learn who people are at their core.
Okay, so I guess help us understand like how this is beneficial to know this, because I know a lot of your posts, like for me, I've learned stuff from watching your post, and so like I saw how you said like basically like your job. If you hate your job, there's a reason why you hate your job. You had posted something about your job situation. Okay, I'm not saying you hated your job, but but with your situation, now that you've understand your chart better and so forth, did you realize like, okay, this explains why I felt this way when I was in school. And this is why no one ever understood where I was coming from, because they're this way and I'm this way. Like, did that all kind of like just start coming to
be like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Just, like I was saying, like the rising sign, I'm a Scorpio rising. And if you notice, Scorpio themes are like private, secretive, investigative, they're very into like the occult and things they're just like hidden knowledge. And so out in the public, because it's my public personality, even when I was younger and I was in a relationship, he would always be like, nobody wants to talk to you because they think you're, whatever, you're mean, you're this and that. But I learned that like, it's just a more reserved sign. Like I'm not out, chit chatting with everyone and stuff. It's because I like to people watch first. I'm not just going to go up to you and start talking to you because, like, who are you? What's your motive, And so Scorpio is also not a non-trusting sign. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't trust that person. I don't trust that person. I got to learn how to get over that. Everybody's not untrustworthy, but that's how I feel. So, having the energy to like, because I've been told, go out there, go, it's like, I will, but once I'm more comfortable, as opposed to like a Leo is like more, because my dad's a Leo, like outgoing, he's chit chatty, he likes to talk and play and have fun with people, and that's not me. And so he would always be like, you say like 2 words when you're out. And I'm like, so I had to teach him. I literally sat down with him yesterday and went through his chart too and showed him like, this is why you do this is why you do this. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, I'm having to teach him like, everybody's not like you and everyone's not like me. So that's why we have to learn each other to let people be, Okay, so what does it take to understand someone's chart? So let's just say, for example, like you said, I'm a Libra, so I'm October 8th. Does it depend on the day you were born, the year? Because I know Chinese zodiac is totally different from our zodiac. So what does the birth chart need for you to know? Your full birthday, the birth time, the specific birth time, like down to the minute, and where you were born. Because I had somebody who I did a reading
like as far as like hospital or home or
like
both?
city, state, country. Because I did a chart for this guy last week, and he was like, "Oh, it's in between 12:45 and 11." And I'm like, 12:45 and 1, and I was like, well, I need the specific, like those little 15 minutes can shift the whole chart. And so I'm like, you're not about to make me look silly out here trying to interpret something and I'm saying a bunch of wrong stuff, so it moves everything over. Like, let's say the sun at 12:45 is in the 4th house of family, like I said, but at 1 o'clock it's in the 5th, so it will make a difference.
It's that drastic.
Some women have planned their pregnancies around, you know, because I don't want my kid to come out a Libra. You know?
That's so funny because I wanted a Libra so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, because my stepdaughter is a Cancer, and Penny's also a Cancer. And so I was like, okay, I cannot have another Cancer. And so then I was like, okay, I want to try for it. But she ended up being, I think she's a Leo, August 1st. Is that a Leo?
Yeah.
She ended up being a Leo. And then my husband is a Virgo. And then I'm the Libra.
Yeah.
So it was like that. It didn't happen. My wish did not happen, but I think Libras are wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's why I love
that's why I wanted
to know. That's why I wanted another Libra. I was like, okay, at least I'll be in harmony with someone in my home, you know? And it's fun. I'm into that stuff. I'm into the astrology part of it because I used to always like, the only thing I never agreed with like my sign was like, they say, now they say Libras have expensive tastes, which yes, I will agree, but I was never bad with money. And they say that's a bad thing. Like that's one of the traits that a Libra has is a bad with money situation. And I was like, damn, I wasn't bad with money except for when I lost my job. And then I realized like, oh shit, I had credit cards. I have like, but while I was working, it wasn't a problem. Does that make sense? Like I wasn't like maxing out my credit cards. I was paying my bills on time. It wasn't until like I lost my job, was on unemployment. And then it was like, so maybe you shouldn't have been living in this $1,300 townhome, you know, type of thing. Yeah. At the time I could afford it. It wasn't a problem. It was afterwards where, you know, unemployment doesn't pay you the same that you were paying before. And I was like, I got to bounce. I got to go figure this out, you know? So that's why I was always like, I don't know. This is true. This is, you know, this didn't match me. So it can't be true. You know how you start thinking those things?
It's all like the complete. That's why I think people don't believe in it because they hear they think they're just that one sign. And then they hear that one. That's not me. That's not, and it's fake.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, so Libra is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of like luxury and things you possess. It's the same as like Taurus type of energy. They're both ruled by Venus. So Libras and Taurus like luxurious things, quality things, nice things, like just like beautiful things, not a whole bunch of stuff, but just like, is this the nicest pillow in the whole store? Is this the best, you know, quality, I don't know, cookware or whatever, like those type of things they like. So it could be lavish spending. It could be those type of things, but you'd have to look at somebody's whole chart, you know, like,
we should have done that. I should have paid you to come do my chart and we could have done it on air.
Yeah. I would have
been what we should have done. People would have been very intrigued to hear all my.
Oh, I've
right.
Just do a part 2 later on.
Yeah. We're gonna do a part 2.
I've
just to get people to be like.
We could do it like on the streets. Like we have the other mics. We just go somewhere and be like.
And start asking.
What's your sign?
Jalissa, we should. That'd be
sign?
cool. You should do a series like that.
Yeah,
you're like, no, I'm not.
It's just a lot of work.
You're like,
you're
like, I just told you, I don't like to talk to everybody.
She's gonna run into the wrong sign on the streets, and then she's gonna have to fight. Don't do it.
I actually did a reading with this guy, and he wanted to record it. He will probably post it very soon, but he was like, I'm sweating so bad, and so because I brought up something that you know, you can see everything. You can see office romances. You can see, you know, you're more prone to the cheating and all those kind of, like all of that. And so he kind of stopped because the person he's with now, he did find her while he was, you know,
cheating.
working.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, and that too. There's another guy. He was married and he told me everything, you know, so it goes very deep. But I won't get into that because I'll hurt a lot of people's feelings. But it does show like a lot of things in depth.
Because he's been cheated every time. He's been married twice and he gets cheated on both times and didn't even see it coming.
So, okay. This is why I, you know, those are like, I say touchy subjects with people, but, you know, I think everybody's kind of been done dirty in some way by some people. But there are energies that some people are more prone to those things based off of their placements or the other person's placements. It's not just, it's not just you. Like it's that person is prone to doing those things. So learning somebody's chart would be beneficial to say, oh no, not you, because of this that you have. Now, some people say, well, don't dismiss people because of their chart. I'm like, but that's who they are. You know, you can learn yourself and find balance and, you know, you can avoid those. Doesn't mean you're going to do it every single time. Sure. But you know, you're more prone to it. So you have to work harder to not answer that text, to not go to that party, to not do the, like, you just have to work harder to not do it. You know, I don't believe that it's just, that's how I am and that's how I'm going to be.
So does your chart change as in age? Like, is it different in your 20s as it is in your 30s and 40s? Or is it always kind of this, or it always is the same?
So your natal chart is who you are, and you're always going to be a Libra.
Okay.
But, you know, after the age of like 30, you'll go through what's called a progression where it'll progress to the next sign. So you won't feel it as much. You know, you'll start to either, like, let's say you have you're born with like an extroverted sign, like myself, Aquarius, and now I'm in it's a Pisces sun that's progressed to Pisces sun. So Pisces is the most spiritual sign in the zodiac. And so that's why I was like, why am I like, you know, not wanting to do the church thing anymore? Why am I didn't know at the time. And then I started looking into it, and then I was like, oh, well, that's why now I feel like this. That's why Pisces is all signs too. So it's more accepting of everyone. So I was like, why am I not as judgmental? Like, I'm Judge Judy over here. Like, I am judging everybody, you know? So, but yeah, it's you do go through different phases and different like signs and things like that. So, but you essentially will always be, you know, what you were born with.
You were born with. Okay. But personality wise, as far as like you grow into another person.
Yeah, like you might tone it down a little bit, you know, but it's still you. It's still there. The energy is still there. You just, you know, kind of suppress it.
And does it also change for people once they become married or become mothers? Or I know you're saying like, for example, I'm just going to use me because I'll always be a Libra. But like you said, does your planet start to change like when you become married? Because now you're like one with the other person. And then do you start becoming a different person because now you have children? So now you've become a mother.
I think, you know, like in Vedic astrology, they do say like once you get married, a lot of things start happening, start changing. Your behavior doesn't really change. But I think that, like, let's say in marriage, when people, you know, say things like we've grown apart or we this or we that, it's not that. It's just y'all's signs are changing. Your energy is changing. So you're not focused on the things that you're focused on anymore. You go through what are called transits, where those planets will move to different areas of the chart to where, like, okay, if my moon sign is in over the house of marriage, now I'm thinking about marriage. Where's that other person's emotions at? They're probably not in that house, you know. So there's a lot of disconnect sometimes because it's like, well, I want this, but you're not. You don't even know where it's coming from, but it's coming from some higher power that's making you feel like that, think like that. And you cannot force people to do things that they don't want to do or they don't have in them. So forcing somebody to
saying I can change him.
Yeah. You can you can make people aware of who they are. And you know, if you're willing to
right
work
at me
on
when
it,
she said that.
I know.
You know, if you're willing to work on it, if you're willing to work, like, let's bring up the Libra thing again. Air signs in general are known to be talkative, you know. And let's say you're with somebody that's like, oh, you talk too much, you know, or whatever. It's not going away. So are you willing to deal with that or not?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Like, you want to deal with talk? Like, I'm not going to not talk. I'm a communication sign. So it's what are you willing to put up with? What are you willing to deal with? I told people there's no perfect person.
What signs are communication?
Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Gemini the most, though. Geminis are
really
chit-chatty. You know, they're the most, and they're
childlike. Juan, what are you? When is your birthday? Huh? When is your birthday?
I'm a Pisces.
Is that March?
Yeah.
March what?
March 2nd.
March 2nd. You know, he's so like he's been. Let me tell you something. We never knew his birthday. He never wanted us to know his birthday. Is that not weird? He's just so weird.
It's not. That
and I feel like he's got
another guy that I know. Like, well, I don't know him, but he's always like, I'm never going to tell anybody my birthday.
Well, because I also
I don't go out of my way to do it. I just don't bring it up when it comes.
I heard
around.
Like the Chinese don't like believe, or I guess they're what do you call that? Like superstition type thing. Is like don't tell anybody what time you were born, because then they'll really know like everything about you and they can use it against you.
Okay, so I have two theories on those things. So yes, if somebody's not aware of what a natal chart is, and you can pry and do all that. But if you're like me, I've studied myself very, like, what are you going to do with that information? I'm already aware of everything about me and my behavior, so you can't manipulate me. And plus I have Scorpio energy, like I don't trust you already, so I'm not gonna let you ask me questions or stuff like that. So yeah, there's some people who are like, don't pressure both, because Gen Z, they're all online, they're all like, I'm a this, I'm a that, and they're posting their whole birth chart. But it's like, if they're already aware of who they are, how they act, what they're like, what are you gonna do? And are you gonna put on a whole show and you pretend for the longest time? Like, eventually somebody's going to catch on, or they're going to be like, let me see your birth chart.
I feel like if you knew that, right? I feel like a parent-child relationship, you could understand your child, right? I did
one with a mom. Well, the daughter wasn't present, but I was doing her daughter's chart while I was doing her reading. And her daughter's, I actually met her daughter when she was like 15, and now she's about 19. And we were talking about just, what's happened over time. And she's like, oh, she's like this and like that. And I'm like, well, you have the same placements. She is you. She is the reflection of you. And you did those things too. And then she started to be like, oh, I was like that when I did do that. So this might be your karma. I don't know. It might be something coming back and whatever. But she, I was asking her, does she like this? Does she do this? Because she was very like, why doesn't she care about school? Why doesn't she want to go to college? Why does she? And so I started asking her, does she do all these things? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, you got to let her be, just leave her alone. Like, that's what I have to tell my own parents, like with my sister, just let her be. That's how she wants to be. That's what she wants to do. She didn't grow up like you. Like, we're all different. So you can't force somebody to do what you want to do, because it's not them. That makes not going to be happy.
Like, that's, I guess that's always my biggest fears with my children. Like, I don't want to like influence any of the things that I did onto them. So I'm like super duper like aware of it. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I guess for me, because I'm the eldest, I always had to take care of my sister, had to make sure her homework was done. Like when my parents came home, like it was like a responsibility of a mom. And partially the majority of my life, I think that's why I didn't want children. It was like, hell no. Like I do not want kids. Like, that's way too much work. Like, I don't want to be responsible for anybody, Yeah, it took me a long time. That's why I didn't have my kids until I was 37. Like, that's when I finally felt like, yeah, I think this is good. Like, I'm good now. Like, I feel like I'm gotten over it. My 5-year-old's different. You ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, and she says, I want to be a mom like my mom.
Is she Cancer?
She's a Cancer.
Okay, so Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon rules over the 4th house of home and family and mother. So Cancers are more nurturing. Okay. The 2 is more nurturing. If you're born on the 2nd, is a nurturer. It's the sensual one. It's the one who likes to take care of people. The 8, you're an 8 person, so it's somebody who goes through a lot of obstacles in life, a lot of hardships sometimes, and also they are more, but they're good at being like bosses and CEOs and good with like numbers and knowing that business aspect. Do you think you're good at those kind of things? Okay, well then
that's all me.
Yeah, so
or at least I'd like to think so. Yeah, I think I am.
I know I have a very close relationship with, I call him the 8 person, because every time I want to make some kind of financial or business decision, I'm like, should I do this? Should I post this? Should I come up with this? Or, so you guys are good at those kind of things. And I wish that people would learn this stuff so that they could be more confident in who they are. Because, it's just somebody can't really tell you, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, no, I do. I know what I'm talking about because I was born with this gift. So, like, that's why I'm like, y'all can't tell me what to do. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. And I left my phone over there. I had another question for you, and I sent them to you. The other one was like, what exactly is a birth chart, right? And then the other one is, okay, so in dating, would you suggest, are you dating right now?
I'm going to say no comment.
He's going to be like, I don't want to be putting my business out there.
The only reason why I asked is because I feel like when you open up this door, right? Like of understanding people. Yeah. And I say that just because I love talking to people. Yeah. And so I feel like I've learned personalities of people. Yeah. And for some reason, like my energy will change if I know there's something weird about this person. Yeah. Like I can feel it. And I'm not saying I have this third sense or anything like that.
You might have a bunch of water energy and you don't know. I think you do just because of your height. I'm gonna say,
Height?
yeah, your height. So, okay, so
Let's get into the height.
Oh my God!
I should have brought my. You probably do have Cancer energy just because you're shorter, or Pisces.
That's funny.
You got the Napoleon complex.
That's funny. That's so effed up, y'all. My height. Why we got to talk about my height,
Like
man?
Aquarius is like the tallest sign of the zodiac, or usually, you know, but it's not so much like, oh, if you're a Cancer, then you're going to be short, or you're this. It's more of like what are you more made up of? Because like there's an Aquarius out there who is short, but overall, like for me, I'm really tall, and I was always taller than everybody growing up.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's an Aquarius, like he's super tall, he's a basketball player, so those kind of things. But
Yeah, but he's short in that realm. So
but based off of your height, I do believe you have water signs in your chart, like a lot.
Okay.
I have one, you know, so that's why I look
Interesting. I didn't
But
even
what
know.
is one- what
I
is
didn't
one-
even know that the day you were born matters, like the actual
I
number
think it's the
date.
day, the time, and then
And where.
a few other stuff.
Okay, so that's what. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was one of the questions was that I had sent to you was what all goes into the chart reading, which you kind of told us a little bit though. You said it was the 12 houses and all that, and then you said now where you were born, the time you were born.
Yeah.
Does ethnicity have anything?
No.
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 So it has nothing to do with like.
That's racist, man.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm curious. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, I guess country would kind of, that's where,
So it's
right?
more because of the time zone.
Oh, got it.
Your
Okay.
4 o'clock in Mexico isn't the same as 4 o'clock in like England or something. So that's why it matters, because of the time zones.
What do you do with twins?
So
Ooh,
twins
that's a good
it's the
one.
same thing too. It's the same. You're born at different times. You're not coming out at the exact same time.
Right, but you have a lot of times you have different personality traits with like identical twins. So it's like how does that kind of go?
So every sign is in certain degrees too. So you and I could be Libras, but you're a 29-degree Libra and I'm a 0-degree Libra. Like that, it's like the intensity, or you're like more. The higher the number is, you're going to be more like the next sign that's after it.
Okay, this seems like there's so much like detail. How long is a reading then? Because you have to go so like you're just telling me the degrees depending on the degrees. So like how long is a reading then? If it's like this is like super in depth.
My general ones are like an hour. That's just like a basic. That's very basic of like just going through all the planets and then what sign is associated with it, and then what house, where it's at in the chart, and what does that mean?
Okay.
But the degrees and all those things, like that's like another. I'll be talking for like forever. And that
Okay,
takes
so
a
that's
lot. It
something
takes so
different.
much work.
Okay.
That's the part I don't think people understand, like how much work goes into like studying a chart and putting combinations together, and it's more than just like, oh, you're born on this day, so this is who you are.
Got it. I'm looking for questions. Hold on a second, because I see them on here. I say what I put on there. What questions do you have? Okay. Well, we're going to put your website. Somebody wants to know what's her website. We have that one. This one is.
Are we live or something?
No, I put it.
about to say,
I asked on my
you're
podcast page.
Yeah.
I tagged you. I don't know if you saw it.
Okay.
Someone was asking. I put on there like, what questions do y'all have for her?
Okay.
Okay. First of all, you'll. I'm sure this won't surprise you, but no one has ever had. It is. I put on there. Have you had your chart read? I put yes or no. No one said yes. Everybody said no. It's 100% no.
Oh, well then that's a problem.
This is going to be super new to everybody then that here's the podcast then, because if no one's had their chart reading, Jalissa, looks like you'll be having a lot of people reaching out to you then, because a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone asked, what is a chart reading? You just kind of explained what that was.
Yeah, I'm actually doing one today for a newborn baby. She had the boy in October, and so the mom wants to know, like, what kind of energy will my kid have? More of like, what should I put them in? What, because like parents like put their kids in all kind of sports and this and that, and there's like, I don't want to play football, I want to go do this or whatever. And so it's kind of steer them in that area, not saying do this one job, but you have like, let's say if you have a communication energy. You could be a news anchor, sports reporter. Like you can, do something that requires you to talk, not just to say do this one thing, but practice your communication skills, enhance your communication skills, do more like a Leo type of energy, be on camera, center stage, acting, anything that's centered. Yeah, those type of things. So that's what I do. Sometimes I do kids charts too, just so you're not wasting your money and time just doing whatever with your child.
Okay, I guess someone wants to know, do you have psychic powers? Which we kind of talked about. No, okay, like does that mean what is it? Yeah.
So when you have water energy like Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, it's more intuitive. It is more sensitive as far as like energy wise. Like let's say being in a room with a whole bunch of people can be too much for water signs, because it's like I can feel you. I can feel your bad vibes. I can feel your negativity or whatever. And so they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta get out of here. It's too much. Like that's why I like going to like CVS or like some small stores and stuff. There's the Walmart. Not doing it. Not doing it. Like it's just some people can really feel it. It's not I'm not sitting here with a crystal ball. Like this is all for show. But it is intuition, and some people don't have water placements to where that's why during 2020 I was like, why don't people see what I see? I'm getting frustrated. Like, how are you falling for this? How are you falling for this? Like, how can you not tell this is a scam or a joke or whatever? But some people really don't have that at all, and it comes in waves, maybe throughout their life. Like I feel like. But some people have it from the get-go, like children, like Cancers. They're going to know. Like, you're going to know if you're lying to them. They're going to know. Cancer is also a manipulative sign, too. So they like to guilt trip a lot. I'm just saying.
Hey, Penny.
Yeah, so, they'll try to bamboozle you sometimes. Wow. But it is.
It's funny you say that because, my nanny is old school Mexican, and she really believes in that whole thing. And, I'm not saying I do not believe in it, because I'd be like letting her rub on me whenever I feel like some bad energy. So I'm not saying I don't. But when my baby when she was little, and she's the Cancer, okay? Anybody, it like was weird, almost like she took in the bad vibes of anybody that came in my house.
I know.
And we would cure her, and we would be done. But it was the weirdest thing. And she would say that, and I'd be like, my husband and I would laugh about it. We're like, of course she does. Yeah, okay. So she's like, she knows. She's like, she's the one that takes the hit for all of y'all when someone comes into your house. But it'd be kind of weird, because sometimes it could be a family member, and I'd be like, no. I was like, she's our family member. Like, why would that happen with a family member? It's like, it can. And I would just be like tripping out that it could be a family member too. But she was like adamant that my daughter had this little like third sense, because and it went away as she's gotten older. Like but my baby who was born in August has never had that. But Penny, when she was little, it like no joke, it was often.
And
like
how old is she now?
5.
Oh, she's 5.
Yeah, but Penny herself, like you may think it gone away, but she's really observant. She's like a really observant little girl for 5 years old. That's why I'm like, oh, she's. Because I've been around kids too. Like I used to teach and stuff, and then also the church. I'm telling you, Penny is very observant for her age, to the point where it's like oh shit, like she's like a little mini adult.
Yeah, like listen to them, because they know, children and animals, like they know, they have a more sensitive spirit too. And the more water you have, which is more Pisces, more Scorpio, more Cancer energy, you will pick up on those things. So it's not like you're, some people do have psychic. There are some placements where you do have psychic intuition. And one guy I did a reading with last week, he, I asked him what his dreams were like, because he had a lot of Pisces energy and they're very vivid. He has premonitions. He said, I had 2 premonitions and one of them came true, and I'm afraid of the next one. Like some people can get those downloads to where, it's either like a warning or like prepare for this thing, or, it just is. And like my own mom, she has very strong dreams, like active nightmare type of dreams, because she has a lot of Pisces placements in the house of solitude, dreams, intuition, those kind of things. Like it becomes intense for some people. So, and like I said, learning all this is to help people like remedy themselves and, you know, thinking, you know, like you were talking about, the woo, you know, people think like, ooh, you know, the egg and all that kind of stuff. Like, there are people who can really use those things. And some people use things for manipulation and whatever. But for me, I don't do predictability because I've learned for like even myself, I have an overthinking mindset. And there are other people who have the same type of mind that I do. So I'm not going to tell you something that you're going to be all worried and stuff. But I will tell you, you talk too much. You know, you might, you know, some people might think, you know, you do this too much or whatever to learn yourself, but not to change yourself though. Not to be like, well, then let me stop doing that. No, it's just like, let me use it. Virgo. I'll use Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign, and it's all about like, it rules the house of health and work and routine. So sometimes the more Virgo energy you have, you can be like a clean freak or like OCD, all about hygiene. They're very self-critical too of themselves because they care about their appearance and how they look. You know, does my clothes look good? Whatever. They're all about those kind of things. So, you know, if you can't tell them to tone that down, they give themselves a lot of anxiety too. They're always in their head too because they're also ruled by the same sign as Gemini. So that curious, always in their head, thinking, overthinking, could lead to like also like intestinal issues because Virgo rules over the intestines. So they could have like some kind of stomach issues or stuff like that. Interesting. But yeah, every sign, that's why I wrote an ebook. Every sign is ruled by a different body part. So depending on what placements you have, those are could indicate like health conditions. And when I look back through my own thing, I was like, oh, that's why my stomach was grumbling all through school. I mean, the quiet moments, taking a test, you hear, you know, and I'm like, what the heck? And then I learned I have the Virgo placements, that's the intestines. So digesting food is hard for me. So I got to make sure I got to eat, you know, there's certain things I can't eat because it's more sensitive. So, you know, when you learn yourself, you learn why you like spicy food, like why I like, some people do and some people don't. There's certain placements that will tell you why you, I mean, it's everything. It's literally everything.
One, you
still
like, go ahead.
I feel like I'm like all out of order, but I'm like, there's just so much.
I know.
This is why I don't like doing live readings that much because I'd rather just do the recording because then I will talk for like 2-3 hours.
Because even in the videos that I watch, the girls that had like, these were more videos on like how to read charts. So I didn't watch like anybody else talking about their chart, but all the ones that I watch all said, this is way too much to do in a video. This is way too much to do. Like all of them said that because there was so, I guess there's so much in depth to go into, right? So when someone comes to you to do a reading, what are like category? Is it a question like, hey, I'd like to see my career? Or is it like, is this person, because I feel like now that starts to sound like psychic. Like, can you tell me this?
Oh, like predictability?
Yeah. So like,
or what they call, it's called, oh my gosh, divination.
So like are there questions that you ask, or it literally just says when you were born, like what is the time and all the three questions?
I mean, I have a questionnaire that I send to people, like ask it like 5 questions, like, you know, have you ever done a reading before? What do you know about it? So I'm not like wasting time repeating the same thing.
Sure.
What are you going through right now in your life, and then what do you want to focus on? You know, some people do say, oh, I just want the love part, you know, or just the career part or whatever. But if they don't say anything, I just go through I go through career, love, and then just your behaviors overall. And possible if there's any like health things, you know, I'm not say like do this or take this. I'm gonna say you could be more prone to, you know, like Pisces is the feet. So Pisces can stub their toe a lot, or, you know, something that is with the feet, tripping, falling, I don't know. But that those kind of things that just tell people to be aware. And like for myself, being a Scorpio rising, that's having like your Mars, that high energy in the house of self. And I also have another Scorpio placement in the house of self, so that makes me like a little bit more aggressive. I'm trying to tone it down. And a little bit... like I do a lot of things fast because I have a lot of fire in my chart. Like fire is, I mean, spitfire, wildfire, you know, just intense. I can go on rages. but I've toned it down because I'm in the Pisces mode now. But it does make me drive fast. It does make me do things fast to where I've gotten into accidents and stuff like that. So you make people aware of those kind of things. Like, hey, slow down. You know, just because, you know, you two are this, you have this type of energy that's going to make you more prone to it, or you more prone to like I had somebody who was in prison and for like, I think 7 or 9 years. And then I told him, but I didn't know that at the time. And I told him, I said, this placement here can make somebody more prone to like jail or some kind of solitude. And so he's like, yeah, I went for armed robbery for this. And I was like, oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you should have told me ahead of time. I would have scheduled some security for this meeting.
But yeah, it's just to say like, okay, well, if you and you are doing the same crime, you're the one that's probably going to get caught. You're the one that's probably, you know, so don't think you can get away with things.
Got it.
It's just to learn yourself to kind of, I don't even know what.
Have you done like, I'm curious, like, because I always, when I read like that my husband and I were not compatible signs.
I was thinking, that's earth and air.
I was like, that's so weird because we get away, like, I feel like we get along like so well. And I don't know if it's from learning each other's personalities. Like, I know he knows kind of like what I don't do. And it's funny because he is far from organized, tidy, hygiene. Yes.
Yeah.
But as far as like him being it's the opposite. I'm the one that's very like, why are your shoes there? Like, just it just doesn't take but 2 seconds to pick up and go upstairs to do, right?
So so that is another thing I wanted to say is that the sun sign compatibility, that's probably like, it matters because you still are those things, but it doesn't mean that it won't work.
Got it.
You know,
okay.
so like, you know, I've looking back on, you know, people who I feel like I've been compatible with, we'll have like the same Mercury sign, which is a communication sign, which we have great conversation, or like you have the same, you will have the same interests in different areas. It could be a spiritual alignment. It could be like, I just would have to look at both charts to see what was going on when y'all met and kind of like, you know, move the time of like when y'all met and what was happening in your love houses. But overall, your communication signs could be matching. Your love signs could match. You know, it's not just the sun. It's not just that part. If you've seen the movie Elemental from Disney, it's a Disney Pixar. It just came out kind of recently, but it's an astrology movie for kids. But they don't. But it, I mean, they're not going to say. Okay. You know, but the guy in the movie, he's all water. He's a Pisces. When I was watching it, I was like,
that. Wait. I think I do remember that, watching that. Oh, that was such a cute movie. I didn't realize that's what it was about.
She's a fire sign. Yeah, that's why she's exploding all the time. Me, that's like, I'm like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally me and the water guy.
Whenever you would make comments on your social media about people being upset about like things that you would say, you know what's funny is like, maybe because we were on the same wavelength as far as like, and it's I would think to myself like, it's funny that people take this as what she is saying as like kind of like you know, like
sensitive?
You're weird, like you know, you're weird about it, or you know what I'm saying, or like, you know, you're going down this like rabbit hole, get out of it. You know, those were comments that you would repost about people. I said, and I would always think like, isn't it weird? Like, I talk to people all the time, and I know there's people that I don't agree with, and I'm just looking at them like, okay, poor person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get it, right? But I'll still hear you, and I'll just still listen to what you have to say, right? And I'm going to use this as an example. I had a conversation with someone where, and we can have a conversation. That's the thing. So she's a younger person. I think she's, what is this? Would it be the Gen Z people? Is that what it is?
If you're born after 95, is she born after 95?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's Gen Z.
Okay, so she was trying to tell me, so she's like, so then you don't believe that men can be women? And I said, absolutely not. I said, a man doesn't have a uterus. I said, and I went through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was funny because at the end she was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. And I was like, it's like the common sense. I was like thinking to myself, it was like, it's the most common sense thing. That's what I'm thinking as I'm talking to her, and I know she's young, but I think she identifies as a
pansexual. Common sense is a superpower nowadays.
Pansexual, like she wakes up, like she says she leans more towards men, but she's not against like having a relationship.
Pansexual means that you could be intimate with anything, and by anything I mean anything, not just limited to men, women, whatever, anything,
animals,
anything.
Oh. There you go.
Look up the definition of pansexual. And I think that the problem is that there's all these little things going around and everybody doesn't actually look up what these things are. And I'm like, I don't think you know what that means. Like,
okay, well that's kind of our but that's what I mean. Like I can talk to people and just I feel like this is my superpower. I swear to you. When someone's trying to BS me and like trying to tell me the story, I'm like, man, I almost feel a little bit insulted. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, do you think I'm that stupid? Like, okay, I may not, just because I don't use the biggest vocabulary to speak to you, I'm not a dumbass. And I'll just be looking at something. I'm like, wow, like you must. And then, I kind of start thinking like, well, partially it's your fault. Then you must present yourself as a dumbass. You know what I'm saying? If people are like, thinking they can talk to you that way. Anyway, like I said, I've always kind of like been into the astrology and like comparing and like, okay, I can't be friends with that person because according to my astrology, it says that you and I would not be friends. And I looked up a Scorpio mom, which is what my mom is, and Libra. It's funny because it says we will always bump heads. And growing up, oh my God. Now, I don't know if it's because I've become a mom. I kind of like understand her more. And like now I'm like, okay, now I see why she would do to spend the night at other people's house. It was like, oh my God, it's the dumbest thing ever. Like, why is it a big deal?
That's my mom. She has a lot of Scorpio too. She was like, I don't know what they're doing over there.
Not
trusting. It's a non-trusting energy.
Like, I don't know them. I don't know who's over there. Like, I don't know who her mom's gonna let come over. And I'm just like, oh my God. But now I understand it.
It was like, it's my next door neighbor. Yeah, but they don't. It's I just said it earlier. It's a non-trusting sign. I do not trust people. I don't know what they're doing, or they're going to be the investigator, or it's a private. All of that is that energy. So, like I said, learning it, it helps you understand. Like,
that makes sense.
Okay, well, then maybe I should give them some grace.
So I have some things, but wait. But first, let me just say, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just curious because with the people that are like super against it, I get it. With the spiritual side, they're more like, oh no, why would you do that? But then from a perspective of like, because I'll look at it like this, like in the way I look at some of the zodiac signs, especially with a lot of people that are using it, I feel like it's like looking up your medical stuff on Google. Like, you know what I mean? Like
WebMD?
Like WebMD, like, oh my God, this is what I have. And because of this, it's because of this. And they start attaching themselves to a lot of this stuff. And they'll like, okay. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect you or anything. I'm just, with a lot of it, it's very, I'm just like trying to ask questions. So like, with a lot of it, it's very general in some senses, and it's general more in a positive way. Because like even with the negative traits are still more like, oh, you're too trusting, or oh, you're this and this, and so it's more like agreeable on most ends. Yeah. So the reason I have a problem with that is because like most people will take that as like a license to be like, I'm this way, so you must be that way because of this, this, and this. And what happens is they disassociate a lot of different things by just trying to like pinpoint, like, I got this, so now you must be this, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
you mean like assuming that they're going to like behave a certain way,
right? Well, or because I like to think that humans are a little bit more complicated than that, but also simple in certain ways. And what happens is when we have something like this, whether it's religion, whether it's this, or whether it's anything, we like to group up. And when that happens, and we start to go under these, like the common, like this is what these commoners will do because of it, or like whatever like the main thing is, they'll start following suit. When that starts happening and they start breaking that stuff down, then they start to get really predictive, and then they'll start using a lot of the stuff as like license to do certain things or act certain ways and stuff like that. So that's what I've been seeing a lot when I see these things, is because that's what a lot of people end up doing.
Well, I think it's kind of like the same thing with religion, and you can use anything to the negative, like how you see in the Catholic Church and the priests and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's why I encourage people to learn the chart, their own personal one, because then it gets very specific and it gets very like, you are, this is how you act in love, and this is how you act in your family, and it's not that's a Libra thing, or that's a whatever. When it comes to like predictability or what's called divination, that's the kind of stuff that I stay away from, like, because I don't believe that anybody can predict anything. There are some astrologers who do like death and, well, first of all, why would you even tell anybody? Oh, well, you probably die like this. But there are some astrologers who do stuff like that. And you can
I'd like to know. You would be the one to want to know.
I didn't say I'd like to know.
I swear you would. I wouldn't want to know. Let me just die.
I wouldn't want to know. I just go with the wheels fall.
Yeah, I just want to know when.
But like with that as well, like even with that, because in some degrees you can take certain things and apply it to it. Meaning like what was the one, the Virgo, the cleaning one? What was that one?
Yeah. So, I will know. Okay, you can be a Libra, and that's an air sign, but the rest of your chart is Pisces,
right?
Water, whatever. So you're going to act more like a Pisces. So that's why it's not going to resonate with you, or you're going to be more intuitive, because Libra, air signs are not known for intuition. But the more water you have, the more intuitive you'll be. So people don't go in depth.
No. I wasn't talking about that. What I mean is, like, you can take certain things from like the outside and then put it in it. Meaning like for that one, for the cleaning, could it be, and just spitballing here, but could it be because spring cleaning happens around that time that like they can associate, like when you were born and you grew up in a certain thing, if like spring cleaning happened or the parents started cleaning, wouldn't you start to associate certain things like that? And in certain ways that some people act depending on the seasons.
Oh, you're saying are influenced by like your family,
your upbringing, or just in general, certain things that happen within that time frame of why, like when it's cold or whatever, like during the December type, more people are less likely to, trust, because certain things within your genes may have just been like, during this season, this is when people will betray other people because it's cold and survival and things like that. So I'm just wondering, how much does that go into like thinking on, did the chicken become before the egg? Meaning like, did the astrology happen, or was it just somebody started to come up with things and started to like kind of pinpoint certain things? It was like, yeah, this should be like a general statement here. Because I understand you can get certain benefits from being able to break it all down. But are those benefits just because they've added like they just something that they've observed and then they put it into the system? You know what I'm saying?
So I think that, because
I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying like, I know in these things.
Maybe, one, upbringing, but also like, how did they know this stuff based on, obviously it wasn't around thousands of years ago. So I wasn't there when first started this, because it is a mathematical science, but it's also spiritual, because you can't recreate it. You cannot recreate somebody's like birth chart or time or something like that. So it's a spiritual thing for me. Something created us, and based off of what I've learned and what I've observed is that there is somebody studying, okay, these children are born under this constellation and they start to behave like this, and you document however they document it. I don't know. Is there a museum with some wooden or clay tabs or rocks or something? I don't know. I don't know where all that.
But didn't even like the Mayans and Aztecs and all them? They they have their. Yes. I'm not like really like they have informed, but I think they had something like that too, right?
Every like Indians use it, Chinese use it. It's like everyone has. It's kind of like religion. It's like everybody has their own version, but essentially it's all the same thing. And you start to look at the Bible and you start to look at like metaphorically, it can go deep, y'all. I could be here all day.
but the way I see these things is like it's almost like they're used to like almost generalize people. And the only problem I have with that, especially nowadays, especially with a lot of crazy things going on, is that people will associate this, like there's just one more thing they can take and use it to their benefit for
leverage to say,
to just be like, you're a Pisces, I can't date you because of my sign, whatever it is. I'm just saying, but in general, like there's just a lot of people that are doing that. So it's almost like okay, like doctors can prescribe you certain things, and I'll say with doctors, they can prescribe you because they know how that works more or less, and you know they know all the ins and outs, and you know. But a lot of people are like using it as like, I typed in my stuff and I'm, you know, I have this, or like almost like the WebMD type of thing, where it's like I have this and this. Because my thing is like the other.
You don't want to be dismissed because you're a Pisces. You don't want somebody to be like, oh no, you're a Pisces, I don't want to talk to you.
What do you mean?
Because you just said like. You were saying like how
no, but I'm saying in general, like it's not even about me. It's like there's different people that I've seen that happen where it's like, oh yeah, I could never talk to them. They're Libra or whatever. But like with those things, when they start to like go into doing those type of like where they start to like use it as like kind of like almost like weaponize it whenever they want to, right? And there's that, but then there's also certain things like what was I gonna say? Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I think maybe I can bring it back. Yeah, so I have seen that happen before, but overall, like I think
it's so specific with the chart reading. No, it's more like to you. It's not really like, oh, you're a Pisces. Here we go. Like so.
Like if I knew, okay, like I said, the communication sign. I'm a Mercury Aquarius, so I talk about Aquarian type of things, futuristic things, AI, aliens, all that kind of things. If I talk to somebody who has like Capricorn or something like that, where it's not the same type of stuff, it's going to be hard to communicate. So I know in my head, you can't change that sign. That's what you are. So yeah, it could be a not to say dismissal thing. You're just aware of the behavior. But overall, if somebody's like that dismissive, like I just wouldn't be around them.
This is the other thing I was going to say. The reason I'm kind of weary about this and certain things is because like people that take it for face value, most of them will pigeonhole themselves into that one thing. And they're like, well, I can't change because of this, or I can't do this because of this. When if you break down like things of change, it's like either circumstance, other people, or yourself. And if you can work through any three of those things, you can then emit change. But I feel like if you're going off of just astrology or just religion or just certain things, you pigeonhole yourself into not being able to, because it's almost like you are kind of what you believe. And if you were leaving full frontal of whatever it is, you can either limit, it could either work. It's like a double-edged sword where you could either limit yourself or you could just not look at anything else and really just.
Yeah. There are some people who will take it like, I mean, everything. It's like, what's going on in my life? Let me look at my chart. You know, don't do that because you will create anxiety. You will create, like you said, you're going to limit yourself. I do believe that you can change. You cannot change like your entire being, but you balance it out. If you're a very impatient person like me, walk fast, drive fast, talk fast, move fast. Like I've learned like, okay, Jalisa, everybody doesn't have a lot of fire. So slow down, be more patient with them, you know, go around them or something like that. But the messaging, because every astrologer is different. There are some who aren't even spiritual. There are some who like just look at it like science, like just, okay, this means this and this means this. I don't do, you know, the messaging that I say is what I do with it. I don't do predictions. I just do behaviors. And then also, like, let's say you're looking at your childhood, you weren't good in school or whatever, like to tell people, like, don't feel bad because you weren't a straight A student. You had this gift, but school makes you follow this type of structure. Like Pisces is more creative, artsy, you know, liking to do things that take the mind, like it's creative mind stuff. So
that's why we didn't like school.
Yeah, so
like prison.
So it's not going to work. Pisces children need art outlets, need creative outlets, need those type of things. I mean, again, depending on how intense that water energy is, but school is not good for them. It's because that's structure and that's just filling in paper and
sounds
whatever.
Like you, Juan.
Huh?
Sounds like you.
I mean, I did good in school. So.
Yeah. But I'm saying you're kind of like
it would be artsy, better. Like
you're into like you like to be busy and doing.
Like you probably would have rather wanted more of those type of classes rather than history and you know, reading and math and those type of things. So especially when it comes to school, because we can't get rid of you know, public school right now. So that's why some kids would thrive in those elective classes, where I would be like, go do that, because they're hands-on. They want to do, like, it's just who your makeup. So you can't force everyone to go down the same path. Everybody go here, go to college, go to, you know, like, that's not going to work. Some people cannot do that structure. They need the freedom. They need the extra outlets to just be, you know. So I can't speak for everybody, and I can't make everyone be on my mindset, but I use astrology to help people understand their behaviors and other people's behaviors, because I do with couples sitting together right there and be like, you are like this and you're like this, right? Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Like my cousin, she's probably not gonna watch this, but her and her husband, she's a Leo and he's a Gemini, and she was like, oh, he talks to everybody. Oh my gosh, she gets so annoyed by him like chit chatting with everyone. He had like 3 or 4 Gemini placements, and he does talk. But Gemini is also known for being like a very youthful sign. They look younger than, you know, sometimes like, oh, are you, you know, but he's like about to be 50 and he look like he's like 30. So, you know, she gets annoyed by that. But Leo is controlling, can be very controlling. Leo is kind of self-centered, look at me kind of stuff. And he's like, she's always trying to tell me what to do. You know, so it's like, I'm sitting there with them and be like, hey, if he wants to have the TV on at night, because Gemini has to always be like stimulating in the mind or communicating, talking on the phone, something. Are you on the phone a lot or like talking a lot, or, you know, communication sign? Well, Gemini, I'll say Gemini because it's more of like, it is the communication house. But he's like, oh, he never turns off the TV, or like he always wants to sleep with the TV on. It's like, yeah, because her mind is like, has to be stabilized somehow. It's like me, I have to turn on noise.
That makes sense. I do have to have the TV on at night when I go to bed. Yeah. Like, I'm like, and then finally when I'm starting to go to, like, I'm starting to feel sleepy, that's when I turn it off. And sometimes it's just, like, for example, like, I'll be folding clothes and it'll just be like a random YouTube video playing, but it's just playing. I'll just like randomly look, but I'll just be folding clothes with that on.
Yeah, that's what I do, yeah. So, you know, like I said, the complication of astrology is more of like, okay, the Gemini house is the 3rd house in astrology. You could have, let's say, I don't know, Mercury in Aquarius, Venus in Libra, all these different signs that's not Gemini. But the more planets you have there, you're going to start acting more like Gemini-ish.
I told my mom, I said, Mom, I need you to send my...
the time?
The time. I said, she goes, why? Okay. And I was like, I just need to know. I said, because I need to know what time I was born.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was born at 11:29 in the morning.
Okay, so that usually indicates like an abundance of friends or a big network circle, or like a lot of people know you kind of thing. Yes, but you know what? As I've gotten older, I've just kind of been like more like it's. I'm going to use my friend. Growing up, it was.
Oh yeah, that was me. Yeah. I was party. I was everybody.
Time you're born. I'm like.
Yeah.
Time you're born.
Everybody was like, "Hey, I'd be the person they'd call. Like, hey, so what's the plan for tonight?" I'm like, "All right, this is where we're going." Yeah. But it's funny because as I've become older, I'm going to use Marissa as an example. My friend Marissa, I went to this networking event. And I was like, why does bitch keep want to talk to me? Like, I don't want to talk to her. Like, we already said hi. I know what your business is. Cool. Like, let's move it along. Like, you know, I'm just here to see what the deal is, you know, to see if I want to participate in this again. And so she kept talking to me and she kept talking to me. And then I was like, and then finally she's like, oh, we should exchange numbers. And I was like, ew, why should we exchange numbers? Like, we should not exchange numbers. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay, calm down. Like, you need to stop being that way. At that point in life, I was kind of thinking like I needed to network more because I had stopped, you know, like I'd become more of a, you're my tight circle and we're good, you know? And so I was like, okay, you got to get out there again. And it's so crazy because I let her in and she's one of my good friends now. Like, she's one of the people I like, hey, come over with the kids type of thing. Let's hang out. Like, I love her. Like, you know, I don't have to talk to her every day. Those are the kind of friends that I like, where we don't have to talk every day. But then when we talk, it's like, you know, it's like, let's catch up. Let's talk about everything. And it's so crazy because I didn't want to be friends. Like, I didn't want new friends. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no new friends. Like, literally Drake, like, no shit. And so, but anyway, I know you got to go, so I don't want to keep you. So we're going to have to do a part 2. So you have to tell me when you're available again. Okay. So that you can come back on and like really go into depth, because I think you just literally didn't even scrape.
Oh no, I feel like I have so much to say, but I want to do your chart like on like without you knowing anything before I say anything. Like I want to do it to get your initial reaction.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Let's do it. Part 2. You tell me when you can come back then. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Jalissa, let them know where they can find you. Let them your website, and that way they can come to you.
Okay, so my website is JalissaDanielleAstrology.com. My Instagram is Jalissa_Danielle. Twitter is Jalissa_Danielle_. Whoever has it without the underscore, I'm very upset. I have to put all these underscores in there. And TikTok, same thing, Jalissa.Danielle. But just Google images and you'll find me somewhere. I've been everywhere. Willingly.
Don't worry, I have it on the screen. I just need you to write it on the screen.
Okay, so cool. All right, so we'll get all that so people can, and then we'll do my chart. We'll do part 2. That might go on the Patreon, y'all. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We will see y'all next week. Bye.